Hi, my name is Callie, and this is a multi-part video series documenting my family's trip around Iceland in 2023. On our fifth and final full day in Iceland, we visited the black sand beaches and chased some waterfalls. Keep watching to see where we went and what we experienced. We got up early and started our drive west. We decided to get breakfast on the go this day at Joe and the Juice. We drove for about 2.5 hours through the Iceland countryside, and eventually we ended up going as far as Vik, Iceland. Once we got to Vik, we decided to have lunch at the soup company. And then from there we went to a nearby beach and experienced our first taste of the black sand beaches of Iceland. And here's some drone footage of that beach, courtesy of my dad. And you'll see these stone pillars out in the distance. Those are famous rock formations that we ended up getting a closer look at after we left the spot. But this was in general a really nice quiet spot. Not as many tourists come to it because it's not as well known. And it was nice to be able to experience the beach without the crowded groups of people around. And from here we ended up doing a short drive to the other side of the mountain. And there we went to a famous public beach access. And this is a great example of expectations versus reality. This was a very busy beach point because it's very popular. And the parking lot was virtually almost filled at noon on this day. So just be aware that there is a lot of people at this beach zone. And it's pretty much busy like this, pending weather and things like that. The reason this beach is so popular is because it offers a great view of those famous stone formations I mentioned all ago. There's been some amazing pictures taken of these rock formations, and they've kind of gone viral and become a hot spot for tourists to visit whenever they're driving around Iceland. Be aware that this beach is actually pretty dangerous if you're not paying attention. There's been a lot of deaths due to drowning at this beach because a lot of people don't realize they have what's called sneaker waves. These are big waves that kind of come out of nowhere and can surprise you and kind of throw you off guard and knock you over and pull you out to the sea. As you can see, a wave snuck up on me here. It's a great example of sneaker waves. And they actually have warning signs posted of how aggressive and severe the waves are for every day. And on this day, it was a yellow warning. So just be aware, keep an eye out on the waves because they can sneak up on you and they can be actually pretty dangerous. And as we were headed back out to the main road from this beach point, there was actually a little church that we decided to stop at and check out. Couldn't go into the church as far as I could tell, but it is a nice little stop just to kind of get out and walk around and look at it up close. And from there we drove a bit further. This is when we started heading toward the waterfalls. So this is kind of our walk into our first waterfall. This one is a little less known, so it's going to be a little less crowded. And it made for some great pictures and videos just because there just weren't a lot of people in here because you kind of have to walk about 5 to 10 minutes back in there to get to it. So it's not as easily accessible, not as easy to drive up to it as some of the other waterfalls. But I highly recommend this one. You can actually go directly behind the waterfall, which is kind of what makes this one unique. And in general, this valley gorge area here was just beautiful. We also got really lucky with the weather on this day. It was absolutely beautiful. The sun was shining, the weather was great, it wasn't too cold. Very little cloud cover. It was amazing weather compared to our previous day's experience with the weather. And because the sun was shining and it was so bright, there was a rainbow at almost every waterfall we visited on this day, which was really cool and made for some great, amazing pictures as well. And as long as you just keep following the path along the gorge, you'll eventually end up behind the waterfall. It's pretty easy to access the back of it. The trail goes right behind the waterfall. Our next stop was our second waterfall of the day. This one is actually pretty famous. If you've ever seen the movie Secret Life of Walter Mitty, it is shown in a cutaway scene and Walter Mitty is walking in front of it, and you might recognize it from this scene right here. This one you can almost drive up to it. It's pretty much just a really short walk up to the front of it. You can't go behind this one, unfortunately, but you can still get really close to the falls right there. And it still makes for some awesome, amazing up-close views of this waterfall. And as you can see, we had a double rainbow at this waterfall in particular, which was really cool. You can also hike to the top of this one, but we decided not to do that as we didn't have as much time, and you just don't get as good of a view of the waterfall. And then we continued down the road a little ways, and this is, for reference, we're heading back to Reykjavik in this direction. And we finally made it to our third and final waterfall of the day. This one is actually right off the main road, so you can see it from a distance. Very popular, so there's a lot of people at this one. But still really cool waterfall, it's massive, and you can go behind this one as well. And again, we had another great rainbow sighting at this one. And then we continued our drive back to Reykjavik. We did stop on the road on the way back to eat dinner at a place called Cafe Cruz in Selfoss, Iceland. And I had possibly the best chicken fettuccine alfredo I have ever had. So if you're ever in this area and you're there during a mealtime, I highly encourage you to visit this place and try their chicken fettuccine because it was absolutely delicious. And then we made it back to Reykjavik, and this was a beautiful sunset that we were greeted with. Here's the itinerary for day 5 of all the places we ate at and things we saw. And there's one final part after this one of the Iceland video series. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.